now. And it should be starting in just a second. Okay, so I see the live button above us and we should be good. I'm just gonna refresh my page to make sure that we are good. And I'm gonna hit the share button. Yes, we are live. This is awesome. So there we go. Let me just double check because it's loading. So welcome everybody. This is a really special Facebook Live. One of my ultimate favorite people is on with me, Kim Woods from Kaleidoscope Enterprises. She is somebody who I hired last year, and I didn't really know exactly why. I knew I needed a business coach, and it turned out that she does astrology and feng shui and like all these incredible things, and she helped me to get super clear on my business, my messaging, and ultimately I met with her a number of times last year, and it helped me to really streamline and catapult my business. And I'm so excited. I actually have a meeting with her at the end of this month so that I can like get super clear again for 2018 because her sessions and her work are so powerful. So I'll drop the link for Kaleidoscope Enterprises so that people can visit your page, like you, follow you. And I'll let you introduce yourself as well, because I'm sure that there's more that I haven't even mentioned.
Okay, well, hey, everybody. I'm Kim Woods. I started Kaleidoscope Enterprises probably, about 15 years ago. And then my husband and I pivoted from that, and we started a business consulting firm called Sea Change Enterprises. Did that very successfully, multi-million-dollar business. I'm a millionaire woman on the North Shore. And then I realized that business was great, but it wasn't exactly enough. Hi, Tristan.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get into intuitive work. So I shifted back, went deeply into astrology and feng shui, as you mentioned, and psychic, business and what have you, and then combined the two of them and realized that what richness that is, what fun, what joy, what power. I mean, it's so powerful. So here I am.
Love it. I love it. Oh, this is so great. So I know we had sort of talked before this, and I have been sort of prepping my audience that this is going to be a 2018 forecast.
Absolutely.
And there are so many people who are part of this group. And by the way, whether you're here live or watching the replay, please hit the share button because there's so many people who love this stuff. It is so helpful for them, whether they just see this as like a general overview or they get to work with Kim directly. This is such a great tool. So please hit the share button. You can tag me, tag Kim, and also, let us know. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs on here, so if you want it mostly for your business, put a 1 in. If you're looking to kind of catch up on astrology for your personal life, hey, no daycare, what can I say?
Exactly.
This is the power and the pleasure and maybe the pain of Facebook Live. Hey. Can I give you something? Can I give you something to hold? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's get started. So I'm going to look at the comments, and there's lots of ones. Yep. Shared. Thank you for sharing. And hi, everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces. Amy, Nikki, Danielle, Angie, Melissa, Misty. I'm going to excuse myself and see if I can put him somewhere. And then
want me to start?
Yeah, I'll let you roll.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Cool. Okay, so for 2018, when you look at it from an astrological perspective, it can get kind of funky because if I start talking planets and angles and whatever, everybody's eyes will roll back in their heads. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ground us with kind of the overall theme of the year. The theme this year is authenticity. So it's being true to yourself. And what I find with my clients is that when they are true to themselves and really working from their power center and from their passion center and really finding their joy, that's when their businesses explode. So this is all good for business. So it's not going to sound businessy for the next few minutes, but just bear with me because it does relate to that. So authenticity. Authenticity means being true to yourself, right? It means being real. It means being genuine. And so when we look at that and we see that word, we say, we can kind of relax into that because we feel, okay, we're true to ourselves. Yeah, sure we are. We really are. But you know what, this year, it's going to ask us a little bit more than that. It's going to ask us to kind of winnow down those things that aren't really working for us, kind of do away with those extra things that maybe were welcome last year and maybe we kind of flirted with. But you know what, this year, they're not going to really hold water. This year is about mastery too. So when I looked at the theme, it just kind kind of comes to me psychically. And then I go through and I pull a tarot card. So I'll show the tarot card. I don't know if you can see this. I'll put it like closer. So it's the Tower card. So that kind of speaks to what I was speaking to about beckoning us to choose. It's a little bit about a purification. So it's about a refinement. So that's great. You know, if we think about being authentic, we think about what's true to us and what are we true to. And there might be some winnowing down, as I said. Then the next thing I look at is from a numerological perspective. There's a word. Okay. Numerology is the meaning of numbers. And so when we take 2018, we add the 2 plus the 0 plus a 1 plus an 8, and it equals a 2, but it also equals an 11. So that's kind of funky. Normally, a year is only one number, right? So last year was a 1, new beginnings. Last year, by the way, was awakening. It was like to wake ourselves up, right? And to begin anew. Well, this year, it's a little bit more than that. It's to refine and to tailor. And when we look at the 2, that really speaks to that, because 2 asks us to choose. 2 is saying there's duality in the world, there's polarity, there's a reason to say, should I go down this path or should I pursue another path? The other thing about the 11, though, the 11 is mastery. The 11 is visionary. So that's a theme this year too. And when you think about authenticity, you can think of, that's a really big, deep word. And when you think of that, you don't just think, oh, I'm true to myself. I mean, I don't want to diss that, but authenticity is more than that. There's a deep abidingness to that. And so when we look at that, we can say, okay, we're being beckoned to choose, but we're also being beckoned to be masters. So that's kind of the foundation. I did this like through psychicness, what's the theme, numerology, what's the number, tarot, what's the card. But you can also look at it astrologically, because I'm here as an astrologer, right? So from an astrological perspective, when you look at the Chinese astrology, it gives people a little bit more like concreteness, because it's talking about animals, right? We can all get behind animals. We understand that energy. Before I go into the planetary stuff, I wanted to just speak to that from a zodiac perspective on the Chinese side. So we're going from the fire rooster of 2017 to the earth dog of 2018. Now, technically, the first day of the new year is February 16th. So we're coming into that energy. It's really kind of bursting on that new moon. It's also an eclipse on February 15th. So that's pretty exciting. I'll speak to that a little bit more detail in a few minutes. But think about a fire rooster, right? Like think about what I just said about awakening, and think about a rooster. A rooster is that, dawn, right? Like roosters wake us up. And roosters are all about, they're gorgeous. They're preening, they're confident, they're charismatic, they're magnetic. That was the energy last year. Think about a dog. A dog is committed. A dog is loyal. A dog is true, right? So when you go to that energy, you can think of, well, what did I just say? I talked about last year was about awakening, and this year is about authenticity. This year is about being true. And earth versus fire. Fire's passionate and enthusiastic and exuberant, right? Earth is staid. Earth is real. Earth is firm. Earth is a foundation. So you can I just wanted to give you real words, like in the English language, and energy that you could really wrap your minds around in this first few minutes before I got into the astrology.
Can I ask you a question? So I remember we said fire rooster from last year, and you're saying earth dog for this year?
Yes.
So if your zodiac sign corresponds with one of those animals, like your Chinese astrology,
right,
does that mean it's more powerful for you?
That's an excellent question. It can. So here's the deal. So what ends up happening is there are 12. We love the number 12 in astrology, right? There are 12 zodiac signs on the Western side. There are 12 zodiac animals on the Eastern side, right? So you have 12 animals. So you think every 12th year you're going to hit your animal. That's true. But there are also 5 elements in Chinese astrology. So it's really the mixture of the element and the animal. So it's actually every 60 years. Right? So it's every 6 years you actually come into the true essence of your element and your energetic animal energy.
Okay.
So sometimes it's a little bit tricky. So if you were born in the year of the dog, for example, you'd say, all right, this is my year. This is going to be awesome. But you may have been a metal dog, or you may have been fire dog. And with the earth, that may not actually be energy that you're very comfortable with.
Okay.
So it can be, but it might not. Sorry for the really, weaselly answer, but.
Well, what's so funny is I always followed astrology, and I always had books. I was like, what are my relationships and astrology?
Right.
But when I had a session with you, it was like my mind was blown, because I remember some things that you said about my specific astrology to me the day, the time, exact location where I was born.
Right.
And for anybody who's never had like a deep astrology reading, like this is what she's giving is so great because it applies to all of us. But when you actually have a one-on-one session with Kim, life-changing. Anyway, sorry.
Well, because think about it. So astrology gets a bad rap, right? Because if you think about it, you're like, okay, my sun sign is in, say Capricorn, because Capricorn is where the sun is right now, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're like, oh, I'm a Capricorn. But what's your moon? What's your ascendant? Where are your 12 houses? You have 10 other planets. So it's basically like saying, gee, my house is yellow, therefore my whole world is sunshiny, right? Like it's not really real. It can be true, but it might not be real.
Yeah.
So, thanks for pointing that out because that's very, very true. And you're right. I'm going to give you the overall energies, but there's a few points where I'm going to say, you know what, if you can get a chart, look to see what it looks like on your chart.
Yeah. And for those of you who are watching, anybody who's had their chart done, put a 2 in. We'd love to see if you have had it done before. Everyone's like, I love astrology. Like, hi, Kim. Hi. Anyway, okay, so keep going. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries. So now I'm going to get into that Western astrology piece, right? So here's the thing. I'm going to start talking about a few planets because there's been a few planetary movements that have been really big. And then there's another one coming up in the middle of May. So planets are energy, right? And planets beg us to create opportunity in our lives. Another way you can look at it, it's a little challenging, right? But we're gonna be the positive side. We're gonna say create opportunities. Okay. And then so they have an energy. So we're gonna talk about the energy, but they also have a flavor, and the flavor is their zodiac sign. So the biggest one the first one I want to start with is Saturn. Okay, so Saturn moves around the astrological, zodiac every 30 years. So it returns to the same sign every 30 years. So that's kind of big because that's a 30-year cycle, but not too big. Like Pluto's 258, 50 years. So that's too much, right? So, okay. So we're going to do Saturn. So Saturn just moved from Sagittarius. It spent 3 years in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is exuberant. Again, you're going to say, oh, this sounds just like Rooster. It's exuberant. It's passionate. It's faith-based. It's optimistic, right? That's Sag. Yay. And Capricorn is very practical. It's very earthly. It's very diligent and very ambitious, right? And so Saturn moved into its own sign of Capricorn on December 20th. Okay, so this is a relatively new feeling for us. Yeah. And if you look outside, if anybody's in the Northeast and this weather, this is Saturn in Capricorn. Exactly. So literally almost to the day that it moved in, it was like, boom, here we go, winter, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when you look at traditional astrology, a lot of people give Saturn a bad rap. I'm not going to give Saturn a bad rap today. I'm going to look at the positive side of Saturn. So here's the deal with Saturn. Saturn makes you work. Saturn makes you be diligent. Saturn makes you be committed. Saturn asks you, do you want it? Do you really want it? Are you sure you want it? Right? So for some people that are like, I love to do 1,000 different things and I only want to do it for 3 weeks and I only want to offer it once, this is not going to be a great time for you, because this is asking you for commitment and for diligence and for focus, right? It's asking you to go deep. Saturn offers mastery, but it makes you work for it, right? So that's okay, because you know what? Everybody who's tuned in today on this snow day is ready to work for it. So no one on this call is going to have a problem with this, right? Totally. So the other thing with Saturn is it gives you tremendous strength. Like, yay, right? Like now you have fortitude and you have diligence and you have the ambition to go for it. So this year is about making it real. So the other thing is it gets rid of excess. Like Sag, we love Sag, but think about Christmas. You're like, woohoo, everything's great. I just partied for 3 weeks. And then you're like, oh, the first of the year comes and you're like, okay, it's time to clean up my diet. It's time to go to sleep. It's time to kind of get back to work. Totally. That's actually every year the sun moves from Sag into Capricorn. Huh. So we're familiar with this energy every year around the first of the year. So kind of think of this like January. In January, you're like ready to roll up your sleeves. You want to look at what your intentions are. You want to set goals. You want to set objectives. You want to start planning. You want to start doing things. We're going to be in that energy for 3 years. Okay. So that's not bad, right?
Okay.
That's kind of good. And it offers mastery. So any class you were thinking of taking, take it. Any kind of like rolling up your sleeves and you're like, I really want to deepen and really want to enrich my service offerings or my products. Yes.
Oh my God.
This is the year to do it.
Can I pause you for a second? Because of course I'm relating this to myself, as I'm sure everybody is doing right now on this live. And it's funny because I think we innately move with these rhythms, and
Right.
sometimes like we've talked about retrogrades, and all of a sudden you're like, nothing's working. I'm so tired. I can't get anything done. It's like, no, that's the point.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but like right now, today I'm closing the doors for this new program called Business Made Simple, literally teaching healers how to master their business and to get into that alignment to help more people and to start making more money and to be really focused. And I find it very interesting that this is the time that it came in
Right.
right now.
Right. Well, when you're attuned to the energy, you're attuned to the energy, right?
Right.
So whether you cognitively know it or not, you're going to be leaning in, right? So you've already leaned into that energy,
Yeah.
right?
And
So,
somebody else says, oh, so funny. I just signed up for 2 classes.
yeah, perfect. That's perfect. So you're saying yes. So say yes to that. I will tell you, it doesn't always feel great, though. I will tell you that Saturn is not that coach that says, come on, babe, I've got your back. Saturn is the guy that's like the traffic cop that puts the gate in front of you that says, yeah, not so much. So don't be discouraged if you come up with your program. I'm not saying you am, but I'm like saying for other people, like if you come up with your program, you only have 3 people signing in, dig deeper.
Yeah.
That's going to be that's literally going to be my mantra for my clients. Like make sure it's completely true to you. Make sure it's fully aligned. And you might find that, oh, you know what? I really needed to partner with somebody, or I really needed to, extend this a little bit, or you know what? I really needed to kind of cut that in half. And that will open the door for something else, because there is really good energy with Jupiter coming in this year, and I'll talk about that. I just wanted to kind of lay the foundation. This is a big energy, and it's because Saturn's in its own sign. Saturn's like, oh, like this year, right? Because last year Saturn was kind of like, I don't really know what I'm doing, right? So we want to roll up our sleeves and really dive into Saturn.
Okay? Totally.
The other huge thing that's happening, it's a little bit bigger, but it doesn't happen until the middle of the year. It's May 15th that it happens. Is Uranus. Uranus is going to be moving into a new sign. Now, Uranus takes 84 years to go around the zodiac, right? Wow. So this is bigger, right? So the last time Uranus moved into a new sign was 2011. So now here we are, 2018. That's 7 years. It's going to spend 7 years in this new sign, right? It's the middle of May. So Uranus is the shock and awe planet. Uranus is the wake-up call. Uranus is the guy that says, I want you to individuate. I want you to be true to you. I want you to not be trapped in anything. So really, it's the freedom planet. So everybody's like, yay, love it. But it's a shock and awe planet, right? So it's kind of like a lightning bolt. So you're like, good sometimes, right? So that doesn't feel so good. So what I'm telling my clients is between now and May 15th, get all of your financial stuff in order. Yeah. If you have a bank account, you should open or close, do it. Yeah. If you have insurance, you should get it. If you have anything you need to clean up, take the next, now it's 4 months, take the next 4 months, clean your house, like, literally, right? Because here's the deal. Uranus is that shock and awe planet. Taurus rules money. Taurus rules finance. Taurus rules the home. Taurus rules land. Taurus rules nature. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Okay. Again, you think about that earth dog, like that's really earthly. So anything that happens with Uranus brings the future to today. So Uranus is always working in our best interests, but it might not feel like it. So someone might be like having a career right now, and all of a sudden they get laid off. And they're like, they're freaking out, but it's for their best interest because they really needed to write that book, or they really needed to start that business, or they really needed to be true to themselves. And so Uranus is going to beg you to do that. And but again, it can be harsh. So what I'm saying is lean into that. If there's any inkling that you have out there that you should be doing something, and it's more about freedom, it's more about liberating yourself, it's more about being authentic to you, do it. Cool. Do it now. Start now. Lay the groundwork now. No need to be worried. I mean, if people go out and go online and start looking at astrology, you're going to see henny penny the sky is falling in. Henny penny, Saturn's in Capricorn. Pluto's also in Capricorn. That hasn't changed. We've been doing that for a while, so I'm not even going to talk about it. We're used to it. And Uranus is moving to Taurus. And literally, it's like every astrologer, their hair's ready to fall out. I'm like, relax. Just everybody take a deep breath, put on our big girl pants, boy pants, and let's just lean into the energy, right? Because this is about freedom. This is about bringing the future to today. What's not good about that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so be brave. So that's the other thing I want to talk about is that you said retrograde. So retrogrades, Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. Oh, technology, transportation, communication. We know that. I'm not even going to talk about that. It's going to do that again. But Mars and Venus don't go retrograde that often. They go retrograde every like 2.5 years, and they're both going retrograde this year, right?
Okay.
All the other planets, I just want to speak to this for a minute because people don't recognize this. All the other planets, that's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, they all go retrograde every year. So when astrologers are like, oh my God, Pluto's retrograde, I'm like, yeah, and it did it last year too, right? And it usually happens right now. It's like the summertime. So that's kind of good. Summertime for us in the Northeast, things kind of slow down a little bit. People go on vacation. It's a perfect time to kind of take that step back, revisit things, anything with re in it, review, revisit, all that stuff. The thing that's different though, is that both Venus and Mars are going retrograde. So what does that mean? Venus is love, right? So yay. So your relationships, and it's really about loving yourself. That's going to be in the September-ish timeframe. Okay. So really kind of make a mental note right now. I know that's 9 months away, but just be like, what do I need to do to course correct, to be true to myself? Am I showing love to myself? That's what Venus will be asking us in the fall. But Mars is kind of the bigger punch, because Mars it asks you where you need to be brave. Right? Okay. Like, think about that. Like, where do I need to be brave? And normally Mars will go travel through like 9 or 10 signs, right? So and that correlates to houses, and houses are the outer expression of your life. And that's very personal. I can't speak to that in general because it doesn't exist generally. So, but I want to speak to it personally because for Mars, like Mars is only going to travel through 5 signs this year. So it's only going to travel through about 4 or 5 houses in your chart. And that's going to be an area of your life. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's relationship. Maybe it's being true to yourself just for you. So that's going to be really important to know where Mars is in your chart, because that's going to be like the kind of the quadrant of life that you should be focusing on. Okay. So I know that doesn't sound businessy, but guess what? We are our business.
Of course. Yeah.
Right?
There's a separation.
So exactly. So when we're true to ourselves, and maybe say for example, Mars was going to be in your relationship quadrant, right? So it's like all about relationship this year, but you're like, but wait, Saturn is really about work. Saturn is about, being successful and being master. Ask yourself if there's something is in that relationship area of your life that you can then deliver to clients. Right? So there could be a correlation there. Or if there's a winnowing down or being true to yourself that you need to solidify from a relationship perspective, that then thusly will help you in your business. Okay. Cool. Do you want me to start talking about angles?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Okay.
Let me see if there's any questions really quickly. Okay. That's a big, long statement. I was like, I can't. Great. Everyone's on track. It looks like, I signed up for classes. Everyone's excited. Good. Everyone's saying, hell yes, I love this. Okay. And just a reminder to hit the share button, whether you're live or watching the replay, because so many people need this. This is so helpful. And it's also really super fun. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's super fun. Okay, so firstly, I want to say that we have 2 blue moons this year. So how exciting!
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. And what is a blue moon? Okay, so once in a blue moon, we've heard that, but what
exactly? So now it's twice in a blue moon this year, right?
Great.
So a blue moon means you have 2 full moons in 1 month.
Okay.
So we had a full moon, which was a super moon on January 1st. We're going to have another full moon on January 31st. So that means that we have a blue moon in January. Okay. Cool. The other thing is we don't have any full moon in February, and we have 2 full moons in March. Again, it happens to be the 1st and the 31st again.
Wow.
So that's kind of just interesting and fun and exciting, right? Yeah. So with the full moons are, they happen every month normally. This time they're going to happen twice a month. But the last 3 moons, so the new moon in the middle of December, this full moon on January 1st, and the new moon January 16th, they're all super moons. So they're just bigger. That just means when you're during a new moon, you should be setting intention. You should be really kind of manifesting, and you should be setting wishes and goals.
Okay.
They're going to be bigger. So this 16th of January, it's all about commitment. So make it big, right? Really make a commitment to yourself. Okay. And then, so that's going to be the bookending. Yeah. That's the last super moon in the series. But then the full moon on January 31st is setting up for the eclipses. So we have 2 eclipses this year. We typically have eclipses during the year. This time we have 2. That's pretty typical. They're January 31st, the full moon. And then it's going to be the new moon on February 15th. That's the start of the new Chinese year, right?
Okay.
And then we have them again. Let me just look at my dates. We have them again July 12th, July 27th, and August 1st. So that's 2 new moons and a full moon. So what you typically do during eclipses is it's like this super energized energy of the moon. So the moon is our heart. The moon is our instinct. It's our intuition. It's getting us out of our minds and getting us into our bodies, getting us into our knowing, into our inherent wisdom. That's another 2 number. That's really a theme this year too.
Mm-hmm.
So think about using this time to be, again, asking yourself, like, what do I want? Who am I at the core? What do I want to deliver to the world? What is my life mission? What am my sole purpose? Like literally big questions, ask them. You're going to get answers. You're going to get information, which is going to be really, really, really rich. So, and the other thing to do during eclipses is during those new moon eclipses, set the intention. And literally what I do is do a ceremony.
Okay.
Get a few stones and some incense or candle, make it super fun, go deep and meditate, and then write down your manifestation goals, write down your intentions.
Okay.
What I then do is put them in a jar or something, a sealed jar, zoot them up with crystals or essences or whatever you want to do, oils, whatever you want to do, intention, power, whatever, and lay them aside until the next eclipse.
Ooh.
And then take them out on the next eclipse. So that would be, this time would be, January, February, that's the same eclipse. It would be in that July, August timeframe. Take them out and look to see where you are on them.
Ooh.
Right? Isn't that delicious? And that will be during the retrograde time. So that's a perfect time to revisit.
Cool. I love that. So like a mason jar, is that like?
Yeah, mason jar is perfect. Anything that seals, And so if you have any fun thing, like great. If not, don't worry. Don't belabor the point. Just kind of something that's sealed. You can even put it in an envelope if you want to. No worries. I put stones on it. I put it on my altar. I kind of super zoot it up. And with feng shui this year, I'm going to super zoot it up.
Cool. Everyone's going, I love it. I love that skills, heart, like they loving it.
That's exactly. So that's super, super fun. The other thing is that's really good news is there's 2 things. One is that normally there's with the angles of the planets, because the planets bounce off of each other, right? Like, because we're all moving in the solar system. And so a lot of times there's very hard aspects, there's very big like oppositions and tension. We don't have any of that this year. So that's kind of the good news. There's some easy aspects I'm going to talk about. Jupiter is going to excite Pluto. Jupiter is going to tone Neptune. I'll speak in detail. I'll give you dates. Those are really super supportive. So again, with this, people trying to make astrology, like Saturn in astrology, malefic and whatnot. It's going to be fine. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to lean in and we're going to take advantage of the Jupiter. Jupiter is that optimistic, good luck, fortune, success, opportunity, all those good, delicious words. And Jupiter is really helpful this year. And I have to put on my glasses for a minute. Excuse me, because I need dates. Okay. So Jupiter is going to excite Pluto, which means that there's really good opportunity for growth, for positive change, for wealth creation, for professional advancement. And those dates, they hit exacts, which means that they dance with each other for most of the years, but these are the exact dates. January 15th, April 14th, and September 12th. So what does that mean? On those 3 dates, what I would do is I would do a ceremony around that. I would do literally meditate, take 10, 15 minutes, just kind of say, okay, where are my opportunities? Where do I need to go with the flow? How can I take advantage of wealth creation? Things of that nature. Because Pluto it does also rule money, but Pluto is very transformative. It's very much about change. People get scared of Pluto. We don't need to be afraid of Pluto, especially when Jupiter comes along and excites it. Okay.
So Lisa's on. She just says, when do we put them in the jar? It was the new moon.
Yeah, the new moon. Absolutely, the new moon. So in this case, you'd put them in the jar on February 15th. Okay. So that would take advantage of the eclipse. I would say on January 16th of this month, I would start really percolating, really start thinking about, really, really, really honing in on what those things are going to be. Because the reality is you could come up with 15 things. 15 is not a bad number. It's just at that point, if you come up with like 15 things you want to work on in the middle of this month, take the next few weeks before that new moon in February and winnow those down. Right? Like really kind of tailor those and see if you can weave some of them together, see if you can deepen some of them, see if you can refine some of them and really come up with, I like the numbers like 3 to 7. So anywhere in that category, come up with those. Because think of it, if you're trying to work on 15 disparate things, that might be
Kind
fractured.
of dilutes it, and you really want to go deep, right?
Exactly.
So you want to focus what your attention is.
And exactly. And when you start looking at, like, if you write everything down, kind of do that, big write. And then when you look at it, you're going to be able to weave things together, because you're going to go, oh, this one feeds into that, and this one's part of this. And so take those few weeks to do that. But that was an excellent question.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to give you the other good Jupiter stuff, or do you have another question?
Give us the other good. No, that was it. That was it for. And anybody, if you guys have a question, just go ahead and post it, because I will kindly interrupt Kim and ask her. So this is your moment of glory to get anything answered. And we've had about 30 people on live with us this entire time. So,
Awesome.
And typically, replays get even more, and I'll post it on my blog, on my website, and I'll post it on YouTube, and I'll, get you the link if you want to share it with your people too. It's so good.
Yeah. So Jupiter is going to tone Neptune. So Neptune is that gorgeous, nebulous, like spiritual, intuitive, dreamy, creative planet, right?
Oh, I love it.
I know, isn't that delicious? So sometimes people will say, if they look on that lower expression of it, it can be delusional. Like, you can kind of delude yourself, right? So, and when Jupiter hits it, Jupiter's that like big optimistic faith-based planet. So I would say, if there is a cautionary thing, is to just don't get too overly like, all right, I made $100,000 this year, I'm going to make $8 million tomorrow, right? Like that. You could think that when Jupiter tones Neptune, take your little, don't worry, Saturn's in Capricorn. We're going to all be fine this year. We really don't have to worry about that, because that's the reality planet. And you're going to say, yeah, no, probably that 100 will become maybe 180, right? Instead of that 8 million. So it's all good, right? So when it tones it, so it's going to be May 25th, and it's going to be August 19th exact. But again, it's going to be dancing. They're going to be dancing with each other for most of the year. And when it's toning it, it's asking for, how do you need to be generous? Like, how do you need to be magnanimous? How do you need to, kind of grow and be big for the collective? And if you think about it, most of the people on this call are in service to the world. So this is really good for us.
Yeah.
Because it's a generous spirited kind of energy. The one thing I will say is that it doesn't really define boundaries. So kind of lean into that Saturn and Capricorn and say, okay, do I need to put boundaries on this? Am I saying yes to too much? Right? Because maybe I said yes, and now I have 50 clients a week, and I don't know how I'm going to serve them. Well, maybe I then need to refine and do some group things. It's that kind of thing. It's opportunity based. It's service based. So that's going to feel really, really good. The other angular energies involved, and I haven't talked about this, I'm going to introduce a new topic. Do you still have time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just watch. I saw one comment come in, a question. It was, I'd love to hear Karen wants to hear your comment about digging in deeper with regards to classes. And I know a lot of people did say that they were taking some classes. So this is
perfect. So like, say, for example, you decided that you wanted to do, maybe you're a massage therapist, and you said, you know what, I really want to get into polarity, or I really want to get into myofascia. Those are two huge modalities, right? Like, they take, hundreds of hours to master, and say that's brand new for you. This year, I would say, yes, go for it, right? Because anything that's really deep, that's really rich, that's really real, like in the physical, is going to be a yes, right?
okay.
So, and sometimes you might say, but wait a minute, I feel a little tired. Maybe I feel a little bit overextended. Reach into that Saturn Capricorn energy, because you know what? I hate to say, there is a little bit about, like, you're going to be a little bit tired because you're going to be working hard. Just say yes to that. Get that strength, and look to see where your Mars is, because Mars is about vitality. Mars is about drive. Mars is about ambition too. That's why I had mentioned that before, and see what houses it was in. Because I'm not saying take 1,000 classes this year and exhaust yourself. No. But if you have that inkling, if you have that inclination, if you've been yearning for that, if there's a longing for it, say yes to it. And if you think, well, I've already taken 5 classes, take another one. Deepen it a little bit more.
Okay.
So I do want to then shift to the North Node, if that's okay.
North Node.
I know, North Node. So when I do a chart, and I'm an evolutionary astrologist for people. So that means I look at past lives. I look at to see what the soul brought in, to see how we're dancing with that this year. I mean, this lifetime.
Yeah.
And so this year, what's happening is the node, and the node is the ecliptic path. It's literally, here we go. Sorry, a little astronomy. It's the Earth goes around the sun, and then the moon goes around the Earth. And it's that ecliptic path when that moon kind of traverses that, kind of the earth going around the sun path. I'm sorry, I'm not an astronomer. That's when you get a node, and that's when the node shifts. So the node has been in Leo. This is the good part. Forget that other part. This is the good part. So the moon is the north node has been in Leo. It's been in Leo since last May. It's going to be in Leo until mid-November this year.
Okay.
Leo's delicious. Leo's all about the heart. Leo's about joy. Leo's about personal expression. Leo's about like who you are in the world. And also Leo's about, guess what? I think I'm this person, and maybe that doesn't really relate to all the other people that are in my life right now or society. And Leo goes, yeah, but so what? Right?
I like it.
Yeah, really. So Leo's like, but it matters to you. What is in your heart? And this is why when I looked at that theme of authenticity, I was like, of course. Of course. So January, literally the moon is going to be really, really close to that north node. So we're going to really feel it this month. I call this month destiny. I call this month making a commitment to yourself about that. So we can kind of set ourselves up this month for the whole rest of the year. Okay. And there's some adjustments, and there's some dance that's going to happen with a few planets with that. And that's going to come up a little bit later in the year. That's a lot of it is there's a glimmer in March, there's a glimmer in May, and then there's a kind of a big dance in November. Okay. And what that's asking us to do is make adjustments, make course corrections, ask us, is that really what we want to be doing? And it's going to feel just slight adjustments. It's Saturn that's dancing with it. So Saturn is kind of cautious. You can take your time a little bit with Saturn. Saturn's going to make sure it's going to be lasting. So it will be for lasting change. I will tell you though, at the beginning of November, Uranus is going to challenge it. And Uranus, as we know, is that shock and awe planet, right? So kind of lean into those adjustments through the fall, because that's going to be helpful when you get into that November timeframe. So that's why I've said, like, let's ground this whole conversation with being true to yourself this year, being authentic, being like, who are you at the core? And if we're talking about business, what is your life mission, and what is your sole purpose, and what are you to deliver to the world? That's really this year, all of it.
Which I think is a great message in general, but I think specifically for this year, really going deep and getting clear on that is going to propel you.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And like for my clients last year, everybody was like, you could kind of do anything. You could get away with anything last year. Like you could say, oh, I'm going to do 50 million programs. I've read one book, and that's fine. You could totally do that. And yes, I told my clients last year to go deep though. Like, let's go deep. Like there are people on the surface. That's great. Let them play on the surface. Go deep, because next year, I kept saying to people, because next year.
You did. I remember you saying this.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's going to matter. And here we are. It matters. Right. So when I look to like 2019, because I'm a strategist, I'm always going to look through, 2, 3, 4 years. I look to that, and this being really true to yourself this year is going to really help you next year. It's going to set you up, as you said, propel you. It is going to set you up deliciously. It's going to be so yummy. So sometimes it's going to feel a little bit lonely. That's Saturn. I mean, look at the winter right now. Like this is the perfect, physical, demonstration of it. It doesn't feel yummy and delicious and warm and nurturing, right? It feels a little bit harsh. That's okay. We're okay. Reach out to other people that are in your group. Reach out to someone like a mentor. Reach out to a coach. Reach out to a healer. Because think about it, if we're all on that side too, that's good for us too. Because you know what? We do need a little bit of help and support. There's no downside to asking for that, right? Totally. So we don't have to do this alone.
I think that is a really powerful tool for us healers, is to get those regular treatments so that you can serve at your highest level, that you are taken care of, number one, and that you can serve to other people. You can't obviously deliver more services, more healing if you are depleted. So
exactly. So again, like, with that Saturn and Capricorn, it doesn't feel yummy and delicious, but when you lean into that Leo, it can. When you take advantage of the moon and open your heart, that can feel really good. And Jupiter will feel really, really good. So there are good, there are beneficial supportive elements. Okay. So lean into those too. And Jupiter loves to work with other people. Jupiter loves to say, Jupiter's thing is go big or go home, so that's kind of interesting.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's like summarize this in maybe 3 to 5 steps for people taking action? What do they need to do? What do they need to focus on so they can have the best year ever?
Yeah. So really they need to focus on themselves. So this is going to be selfish enlightenment. Like that's, I know, right? So literally ask yourself, where have you not been serving yourself? That's kind of the first thing. Where am I not serving myself? Am I not seeking help when I need to? Am I not taking the plunge when I need to? Am I not saying yes to myself? That would be the first thing. And this month is so delicious. This month, I will say, is really yummy and warm and nurturing. It's really a lot of water energy. So really take that support. We're kind of easing ourselves into this, which is really yummy. That's the first thing. The second thing I would do is you can go on astro.com. It's free. And you can look, if you know your date, your time, and your place of birth. You can go in, you can just put your information in there, and you can get a chart. It's going to look like goobly gook. It's going to be crazy. Henny penny.
Right. Yeah.
But kind of look to see where, your planets are. If you can get the transits, look to see where Mars is going to hit. If not, go to your favorite astrologer, go to someone, go to a psychic even, you might not have to get an astrological reading for this. Find out where Mars is, because Saturn does ask a lot of you. And with Mars being in only a handful of houses, it's going to be, where do you need to be brave? So there's going to be a segment of your life. If it seems overwhelming, I guess I should backtrack. If it seems overwhelming, do this, because then you can just focus on one area of your life, and you can say, okay, I can take a deep breath. Okay, I need to work on relationship, or okay, I really do need to work on business, or okay, I really need to do work on myself. That might help, because if it seems overwhelming.
Okay.
The other thing I would do is go to your favorite modalities, right? Like I love crystals and stones. Like that's like one of my things, right? So I always know the stone this year is blue topaz.
Blue topaz. Okay.
Blue topaz, delicious. It helps you find your truth. It helps you get to the core of things. I literally am going to get it. It's not that easy to find. So I'm going to go find some. I only have 3 right now. I'm going to go get a whole pack. I'm going to put one in my purse. I'm probably going to have one in my pocket a lot. I'm going to have them on my altar. I'm just to remind you, like, who are you at the core? I love stones. If stones don't work for you, no worries. You can use flower essences or really anything, essential oils, have some yummy oils in the diffuser. Go walk in nature, when it gets nice out. Not today, not tomorrow, but if you're in the Northeast. But
no shoes.
yeah, I know, exactly. Because Uranus and Taurus, like Taurus energy loves nature. So anything nature, anything natural. I would say I spoke to a little bit before with finances, clean up, over the next few months. I would say Uranus wants to free you. So if you're feeling trapped, that's what's going to be releasing for you in the spring. Kind of look at that. The other thing with Taurus, if you want to make investments, Taurus loves the earth, loves Mother Earth, anything that's sustainable. So drinking water, clean air, solar power, those types of things, kind of look at those and look what funds are in those types of energies, and they are energies. That's going to be really, really supported. I will say there is going to be a little bit of shock in the spring. I'm not doing the henny penny sky falling in thing, whatever, but there is going to be a little adjustment. I would say it's going to be much more from a political or much more from a big corporate perspective, just because where Pluto is and where Saturn is, and they kind of work on those, presidential, authoritarian, like CEO type energies. So yay, right? If you're a sole proprietor or you run a small business, this could be good. It could be this energy. What I'm really looking forward to is that this energy could be helping with this diversity between the wealthy and the poor, right? But for us alone, I just did global, but for us alone, just kind of clean up. If there's anything you need to clean up, if you've been in your bank and you don't really believe in your bank, go to a different one. Go to a smaller one, potentially. Go to a truer one. What else? I think that's probably it. Be true to yourself is the bottom line. Do things for you. And it's when I say selfish enlightenment, I'm not saying just be like a total witch. You know what I mean?
Right.
But really be true to yourself in really beneficial ways.
All right. I'm taking notes.
Okay.
And I posted it on here so people can just see like the quick, notes so I'm trying to find back to myself. So I put in, where am I not serving myself? You did astro.com to get your date, time, and place, and you can get your chart. Selfish alignment, find out where Mars is for you. So where you need to be brave, and focus on where you need to be brave. Number 3 was go to your favorite modalities. You mentioned crystals, and that blue topaz is the stone of the year. Somebody mentioned it was their birthstone.
Awesome.
That's like, woo! Somebody wants to get a tattoo of their chart as a reminder of where they are for some reason. Get out in nature, find your truth, clear up your finances, make investments in sustainability. Spring could be good for CEOs, diversity with wealthy and the poor, and be true to yourself. Did I get everything?
Yes, you did. So and small business CEOs, the spring could be good for.
Okay.
Not those big, large corporations, but I don't think we have any large corporations on the phone, so I don't think we have to worry about that. I would say that the last thing would be take advantage of the eclipses.
Okay.
Really take advantage of those. So that's, the end of this month. So it's January 31st, it's February 15th, and it's that July timeframe. It was July 12th, the 27th, and August 1st. So really set some intentions. You can have some fun with that. Do some ritual around that. I think that will feel really good.
Rituals. I love it. And I love that jar ritual. I'd never heard of that before. And I absolutely love it. We did, I led a karma cleanse on Monday with the supermoon, and it was unbelievable. The energy on it was unbelievable. The supermoon energy was unbelievable. It was my most watched video by a long shot. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is so much energy when these things are happening with our planets, and, instead of, kind of falling victim to like, oh, it feels weird right now, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, really tune in. And I mean, I actually remind my clients that all the time, like, it's not you, it's something personal, it's planetary.
Right. Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
It's our solar system that's happening. You're just a victim to it right now. And so, and that's part of why I love working with you, because I can plan and anticipate for these shifts and changes with me personally.
Right.
And globally. And then also, each sort of cycle that I'm in, I can sort of just ride the wave versus being crushed by it.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And so the person I study with, Stephen Forrest, he's an unbelievable evolutionary astrologer. And he always says, either you're going to work on your planets or they're going to work on you. So I'm always like, let's go with the flow. Let's ride that wave, because I'd rather be riding the wave than being crushed by it. That's perfect.
Totally. Anybody have any quick questions that Kim can help answer? Because we're going to do a quick rapid fire Q&A. She can't see the questions, only I can see it. So go ahead and post them, whether it has to do with you personally or with your business, a specific question that Kim can help answer. I know it's probably impossible for her to tell you what is going on with your chart if she doesn't know who you are and all of her information. So don't ask her what your planets are. But certainly if you have any questions, just go ahead and post them. So of course, the first question, how do you find Mars in your chart? So Kim had said astro.com, put your date, time, location, right?
Right. And what you'd want to do is you'd want to run a transit chart. So what you're going to see is you're going to see a circle, and it's going to have these symbols around it that look like gobbledygook. And then you're going to see these symbols inside, the symbols inside of the planets. When you look at the transits, you're going to see the symbols on the outside of the chart. And Mars is the masculine sign. So it's the circle with the arrow sticking out of it. And so you're going to look at the outer part of the chart, and you're going to look at the houses will be 1 through 12 around. You're going to look to see where that outer Mars is, and you're going to see where it's starting. So it will be in the sign of Scorpio to begin this year. And then it's going to kind of dance through Sag, Cap, and then Aquarius, go back to Cap, Aquarius again, and then it's going to kind of stop. So it's going to be in a segment of your chart. If not, I hate to say, just, reach out to me.
Yeah, I was just going to say I think the easiest way for you to do it is just to reach out to Kim. But all right, so best time to launch a new offering this year? Ask Tracy.
I would definitely with Jupiter and Pluto excitement it's happening. So those dates that I gave you were April. Let me just revisit that. They were January 15th. So if you're almost ready, that's a really good date. It was April 14th. And it was September 12th. That again, new opportunities, wealth creation, those are probably your 3 best dates. I would look, and if I'm getting too astrological, just, kind of stop me, but I'd look to see where my moon was and where the moon is on, like kind of astrologically, you can do that online. And I wouldn't do it during a void of course moon. That's when the moon isn't really reflecting anything. And that's where things will not reach its height. You can find that online as well. And I know I'm
Okay.
getting astrological, I apologize, but you're asking me for specificity. So I'm giving it to you.
Yeah.
So if I tell you, April 14th and the moon is void during certain hours, don't do it during those void moons. Anytime you do something during the void moon, it's not going to build.
Okay.
It has, not that it's not going to, it's just, there's less likelihood that it's going to build. So when you're looking at that date, look at when the moon is in a sign. Okay.
Okay. Next question is, okay. Will my crystal healing and crystal light beds be a good investment for me?
Okay, that depends on if you, here's the thing, you're going to want to check in with your heart. Do you love crystals? And I mean, I'm talking like you see them and you go like when I do, like literally, I know I'm looking weird right now, but I'm looking around, I have crystals everywhere. And I'm just like, oh, I mean, I look at them and I love them. So to me, like if I were to invest in crystals this year, that wouldn't be a bad thing because I love them so much. Now, whether I offer them or not, that's a different question.
Right.
So look at why you'd want to do them, and what you're looking to do them. So is it true to you? Is it true to your path? And I would say if that's that answer is yes, and if you love them, they're delicious to you and they're true to your path, I would say absolutely. If they're not and they're kind of, well, somebody else is doing them, or I think it's the next thing I should do, or it makes sense.
Yeah. She said, yes, she does. She got certified as a crystal healer this year. She loves energy work. Like,
yeah.
I would say that's a yes. Heather asked, any time of the year best for starting new relationships? That's a funny question.
Yeah. So, so that's really where, because Venus is, kind of the goddess of love, right? So, and it depends on where your houses are, because there are a few houses that there's an arc of intimacy for you. So I don't want to be Weasley about this, but I wouldn't do it when Venus is retrograde, because that usually is more about yourself. And of course, I have to look for the dates in my 20.
I think you said it was the end of the year.
Yeah, it's during the fall. I was just going to look for better dates than that. So yeah, I need to see a chart. I hate to say it. I do. I don't mean to be a jerk about that, but I really do.
Don't be a jerk. I think it's specific because, I mean, again, when I work with you, you show me everything specific to me. And so I know without a question that this is about me versus generally speaking, because everybody's planets are in different places.
Right. I know. Yeah. So Venus is going to go retrograde. And of course I can't find it. It goes direct on November 16th, but it will go retrograde about a month or so. It goes retrograde October 5th. So I would say not during that time, but that's all I can tell you specifically. I can't tell you more specific.
Yeah. Okay. Some great questions. Kim, how do we make an appointment for a reading with you? And I tagged you and I tagged Kaleidoscope Enterprises, but more specifically, how can they find you?
Okay, so my website is called Keck Freedom. So it's KECFreedom.com. So you can go to the website, you can kind of check me out. You can see what offerings I have. You can book online. I will tell you, I keep my calendar pretty tight when it's online. Or you can just email me, and that's Kim at KECFreedom.com. I'm all about freedom, as you can tell. Or you can Facebook me, message me. And again, it's Keck Freedom. Keck Freedom is the Facebook page. Right now, I will say I'm booking into February at this point, just because that's just the way my calendar works.
Yeah, that's great. I work on a favorable outcome for an upcoming. I don't know. What should I work on for a favorable outcome for an upcoming court case?
Okay,
that's really personal.
Yeah, that is personal, and I would say you really want to look at Mars. That's where because that's where you need to be brave, right? Because any legal thing is hairy, gnarly. It feels yucky. I mean, I'm sure it's bringing up fear. That's where you'd want to look at Mars. That's where you'd want to get specific about that.
Okay, cool. Well, everybody, can you put some hearts and some thumbs up for Kim and give her this virtual round of applause? This has been so freaking great. I know we were like, oh, we'll do like a half an hour-ish. Right. We're almost going to an hour because, my Facebook Lives tend to be long, and we love each other, and you have so many great things to add. So here we are. And there's like a million hearts and thumbs ups coming in right now. It's like a flood. Thank you, everybody. And you can find Kim at Keck Freedom, K-E-C Freedom, Kim@keckfreedom.com. I posted your link. I've tagged you. I've tagged your page. You can always private message me or Kim to get to her. I highly recommend working with Kim. She is an incredible coach. She brings more than just like this astrology stuff to the table. Like this is like just a piece of it. So any case, thank you so much for being on with us.
Emily.
And I'll see you at the end of the month.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thanks, Kim.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.